So when Neil came up with connections as a theme for this month, I thought, yeah, I can talk about connections. Um, those of you who are here, most of you know that I studied nonviolent communication as part of my doctoral training. Well, I studied that as part of my dissertation. It was a part of my doctoral training, actually. But nonviolent communication is a way to listen without becoming defensive and be honest without judging, and also a way to talk to oneself compassionately without judging oneself. So I thought, yeah, I could talk about connections. Yeah. So I didn't realize it was Memorial Day weekend, this fourth. I was thinking there were 5 for some reason, 5 Sundays in May. So I just thought, well, this will be perfect. So it will. It will be perfect. The title of my talk today is Principles of True Partnership. And I have a little subtitle, Together, a Great Place to Be. So in the summer of 1986, I attended my first Unity convention, and that was in San Diego. And the reason I went actually was the title called to me. I saw the convention advertised in a Unity magazine, and it was Spirit's Journey, and I was ready for Spirit's Journey. It was a very profound week that I spent. I went by myself. I was really scared because I was living in Long Island at the time, and I don't know, I wasn't working, and people were working. My friends were working, and so there was really no one to go with. But Spirit's Journey was calling me, so I got on the plane. And my biggest fear was, who was I gonna eat meals with? Really, it was my biggest fear. The only meal I had by myself was my first breakfast. And after that, it was a piece of cake, literally. Made a lot of friends. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about was one particular workshop that I attended. And it was led by Edwina Gaines. And those of you familiar with Unity will know she's kind of infamous for prosperity. And as far as I know, she's still around. So I didn't know her at the time, I just went to a prosperity workshop. And I actually saved the bulletin from that convention, and I looked it up when I was preparing this talk, just to see. So the title was Prosperity Plus, and she talked about erasing lack, creating abundance, the rights and responsibilities of the God being, that's us, the God being, and playing 100% with passion, purpose, power, and prosperity. Needless to say, she was very dynamic. She told us she was recently married, and her husband, Bert Carlson, I had to look up his name because I didn't remember, it was in the bulletin, came onto the stage after she told us how she manifested him in her life. She wanted to manifest a husband, she said. And so she did it through spiritual principle. She told us she had acted as if, or as Neil might say, as though. That's a new term you might be hearing. She prepared a second place when she had dinner. She made it romantic with candles. She told her husband about her day at the table. And she made it romantic for herself. And I'll never forget the way she spoke to her higher power. She said, "Peel me another grape, Lord." And I was like, wow, it's really cool. And, I was young and vulnerable at the time. I think I was early 30s when I saw her. But that's the type of faith I'm suggesting we need to bring to the proverbial table, especially when we're wanting to create true partnerships. Now, I'm not suggesting that if you listen to my message today, you will manifest a husband, unless you really want to. You might, if you really want to. What I'm wanting to talk about today is, what is a true partnership? Why is a true partnership important? And how can we create and sustain these types of relationships? So, to me, my definition of a true partnership is a relationship in which each person knows the truth of their own being. Now, what do I mean by that? I also want to say that each person brings that truth to the table. To me, knowing the truth of my being, first of all, is to know I am. I am is so powerful. Philosophers have talked about it through the ages. And in unity, we often fill in the blank with some power to really solidify. Like, I am power. I am will. I am love. Like that. Very much along the lines of Edwina Gaines' philosophy. So it's also to know that I create. I am and I create. In unity, the Trinity in unity is a little bit different. Mind, idea, and then expression. Mind, idea, and then expression is the Trinity in unity. I don't have that in my notes, but it's really very powerful to think about it. Everything you see was first an idea. Classes with Paul Hasselbeck, it was like really way out there. I mean, he started with, okay, this table right. It was this table. And, you really started to think about that, when you started to look around like on the breaks and during lunch, to think about all that is and how it started. It was really powerful. I live in harmony with my values. I live in harmony. Nice to have all these ideas, but let's put some footwork to it. Let's get out there and act. So that's the fifth principle. But for me, learning about my values, actually, existential humanistic psychology. Yeah, I did in college. I think I was a junior. And what were they going to do with them? That was the discussion that we had. Now, is that going to hurt someone else? I really don't think so. It will help everyone if I act in harmony with my values. So, a little more description about a true partnership. There is a faith that I am here for a purpose. I believe in potential for purpose. And I believe we can become more because of each other's presence. Isn't that beautiful? As I rise, so do you. Yeah, that's the ticket. This is not a technique, but it's a concept. It's our own divinity to the relationship. And we know we can create. Does that mean some people missed what I said? A lot of what I said?
Last 2 minutes.
The last 2 minutes. Okay. That's not bad. I was thinking about what ACIM calls the holy relationship. And quote, a holy relationship starts when we have looked within and have seen no lack. We have looked within and have seen no lack. By accepting our wholeness, we can extend it. When we have accepted truth as a goal for relationship, we become givers of peace. And it also says, you are one self with me, united with our Creator. So all three of us. And I want to translate that into Donna talk, maybe. It means to me, I have everything I need. I am whole and complete. You have everything you need. You are whole and complete. When we join together, our potential is unlimited. In a true partnership, we're able to hold the space for the highest and best in ourselves and in each other. It's not just an attitude, but it's a way of being present to the other and to ourselves. There's a spirit of equality and openness. Our power is shared equally. We bring our self-awareness to the table. There's no pretending, no hiding, no withholding. That's cute. Is that a little monkey? We do not make assumptions. We clarify if we don't understand. We do not make up stories. Now, this requires an honesty with ourselves, doesn't it? A real honesty with ourselves. Together, we're open to new possibilities and we're open to learn from each other. You know, I know a lot of stuff about psychology, but I don't know too much about history. Sounds like a song, doesn't it? I don't know a whole lot about geography. So there's a lot of specialty areas I have no idea about because my focus in my training was psychology and imbued with spirituality. But I'm happy. I mean, that's good. But my point is, you know, my husband knows things I do not know.
Yeah.
He says, yeah. And I know things he may not know. Notice I said may not. I want to be polite here. But by working together, we create a new world together and we lift each other up. There's more available. So why? Why be bothered with all this? Why? Well, in a true partnership, we can grow and learn and at the very same time feel safe to be and respect who we are right now. Let me say that again. We can grow and learn and at the same time feel safe to be and respect who we are right now. It's both and. It's not either or. And there's a flow. It's easy to work together. It's easy to contribute to the other's well-being, to freely give and freely receive, as we say. It's a joy. We can be of support and feel supported, except when we don't. I'm just throwing that in there because, you know, it sounds very, you know, look, it can be pie in the sky if you're not realistic, right? So I'm going to talk about how do we do this so that we can have a little more realistic application. But first, Mother Teresa said, and some of you may know this quote, "Together we can do great things." And I also saw that Helen Keller said, "Together we can do so much." And I say, together, a great place to be. So how? Well, I believe it's primarily an inside job. Whew, you know, it's primarily an inside job. It involves knowing and trusting ourselves, listening and being honest with ourselves, listening to ourselves and being honest with ourselves. In Living in the Light, Shakti Gawain put it this way. In chapter 5, which is, the title is The World as Our Mirror. If you lie to yourself, others will lie to you. If you criticize yourself, others will criticize you. If you're honest with yourself, others will be honest with you. If you honor yourself, others will honor you. If you appreciate yourself, others will appreciate you. What about that? the world as our mirror. So if somebody is criticizing you, let's just take an application, and you believe what they say, you are criticizing yourself. However, if someone is criticizing you and you hear their message as about them, their feelings and their needs, you don't take it personally because you're not criticizing yourself. So there's a reward to this speaking and listening without judgment to ourselves. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but so one, I want to be honest with myself without judgment. That, I think, is the first step. Two, when I listen to myself without judgment, it's easier for me to share my feelings without fear of being judged. This is an amazing experience because, so with nonviolent communication, I have learned how to listen to myself without judgment. Now it takes practice because it's another language. The judgments pop up. They pop up almost automatically. It's like a default. When we're stressed, when we go into fight or flight, our thinking brain shuts down. And all we've got is fight or flight. That's all we've got. So we've got the quick judgments to help us get safe. That's all we've got. So learning how to ground ourselves and come back to the present moment is very, very important. And you know, a lot of times before we do our meditation or prayer, we'll breathe. Taking deep breaths helps us ground also. It helps the sympathetic nervous system shut down and the parasympathetic come on, which is rest and digest. So we really want to do that. But the point of how to listen to myself without judgment, once I'm calm enough, I listen, I translate my judgments to my feelings and my needs. And it's very easy to do once you know the formula. The needs are the opposite of the judgments. If the judgment says, man, I was rude, what's my need? My need is to be considerate. Now, when you do this translation, it's beautiful because our needs are beautiful. So number two, when I listen to myself without judgment, it's easier to share my feelings without being afraid of being judged because I've already translated everything. And that's amazing too, because when you translate for yourself, you can translate for others as well, what they're saying to you. Their messages become beautiful when you know how to do this, what's called a giraffe translation. A giraffe is a symbol of nonviolent communication because giraffes have very large hearts and they stick out their necks. You have to be vulnerable to have a true partnership. And giraffes are way up high so they can see a bigger picture. Instead of being down low in fight or flight, survival mode, you can see more of the God being picture. Thanks, Edwina. Woo, the rights and responsibilities of the God being. I love that. So Marshall Rosenberg developed nonviolent communication. And I want to say something about that in just a moment. But number three, in addition to listening to ourselves and being honest with ourselves and sharing honestly with our partner, a true partnership includes listening to your partner. This means hearing their needs without judging ourselves. So suppose the partner says, you're rude. Well, it's a you message, and right away, we want to protect ourselves. I'm going to take a deep breath. If I said that, what might I be feeling and needing? I can do that. That's another way I can do that. I might be feeling frustrated because I have a need to be heard. I might be feeling kind of disappointed because I have a need for consideration. So now, because all of our needs are the same, I can hear my partner's needs without taking the message personally and defending myself and starting a war, which is, what do you mean I'm rude? You know, you're the one that blah, blah, blah. And we can just go on and on. Sorry for hitting that. So Marshall Rosenberg said, quote, "The needs are the quickest, closest way of getting in touch with that divine energy." Now, if Marianne is listening, she calls it divinergy, divine energy. I like that because it flows, you know. The needs are the quickest and closest way to getting in touch. Needs come because we're alive, end quote. So what does this mean? To me, I know what it feels like. I can also understand your needs because I have them. Imagine, like I said before, if it were me, what might I be feeling and needing if I said this or if I did that? So it can change the whole tone of the relationship. Because in nonviolent communication, NVC, the jackal symbolizes the language of judgment. And the jackal has beady eyes, you know, and bite, you know. And as when you hear their feelings and needs, you don't see a jackal anymore, you see a giraffe. And it's in our body language, our nonverbal, and our verbal. How we connect with each other is so important. But Joy feels I have a gratitude practice with Reverend Neil in the evening before bed. Some of you heard about this, but it has evolved over time. It started in November of 17. And it started with just giving each other an appreciation, before we went to sleep. And now it's a 6-step process and it takes a half an hour, but it's great because we have chats and everything that go on with it. So the appreciation for each other is first. Now we have a self-appreciation, that's second, that we share with each other. Then we have a today gratitude. Then we have an advance gratitude, something we're grateful for in advance. Then we have a past gratitude, something from the past that we're grateful for. And then we have a challenge gratitude, some challenge that we're grateful for. And then we do a little pray out with an inspirational reading or something like that. So my gratitude practice is really helpful because even if we have a disagreement during the day, I know I'm going to be appreciated before I go to sleep. And it helps me, just keep my faith, So back to the faith that we can bring to this proverbial table. I'm just going to summarize. Each one of us is already complete. So I invite you to be open to the Christ within. I invite you to trust yourself and listen to your heart. And then speak your truth without judgment or fear. Make room and invite Spirit to show up in your relationships. Intend to connect with your own true nature and with the Christ nature in your partner. Listen deeply, build one another up, create together. Be grateful for the gifts you and your partner bring to the relationship. As Reverend Neil mentioned in his talk last week, Matthew 6:33, I like this. But seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things will be added unto you. And to that I will add 1 Timothy 1:5. There is no greater work or greater understanding of partnerships than the building of relationships in love. And now we're going to have our meditation song by Wild Roses, There Is a Place.